Well, good Monday morning to you, Trucker Todd, and time for another video. All right, folks, here lately there's been a lot of talk about autonomous trucks. You guys might know Asian Mai went out to Phoenix last week to talk to the CEO of Night Swift and kind of tour the facilities and find out about autonomous trucks. I have not yet seen his follow-up video about what he found out, things like that. Also, Jason Pote, the trucker's coach, put out what I thought was one of his better videos. I'll be honest, I didn't agree with everything he said, and we'll kind of discuss that in this video, but I thought it was one of his better videos. And so that's what we're going to discuss in this video. But before we do, let me tell you guys what's going on. I'm in Roanoke, Texas, getting ready to go home for a doctor's appointment, but I'll still be doing the Tuesday night, Tuesday Trucker Talk video, or live stream, I mean. Wednesday, I still have plans to be on Trucker's Coach unless things change. And then on Thursday, I'm starting a new live, and I'll announce more details about that later in the week. So you guys make sure you're subscribed so that you receive notifications when I put that stuff out. Give this video a thumbs up. That really helps me more than you guys know. And share this video on your social media platforms. Also, look down in the comments for some additional information, like how you can apply at Swift Transportation, things like that. And look in the description for a lot of other great information, like how you can contact me, what other social media platforms I'm on, my how to apply at Swift. Again, that's there. There's just a ton of great information there. The music you're about to hear, it's all there, so check all that out. I've said enough. Let's cue up the music and jump right into today's topic. Here we go.
And this is why I do this, why I'm out here, why I keep that hammer down, flying by these road signs with home on my mind. These wheels turning round for my family and for my kids, for this life I wanna live. And this is why I do this.
Alrighty, we're back. So basically, here's what you need to know about the autonomous trucks. And the reason I say that Jason Pote, the trucker's coach, his video was really informative. He included several articles there. It wasn't just his opinion. You can go and check those out and kind of formulate your own opinion. Speaking of opinions, I also want to say before I give mine that this is my opinion and my opinion alone. Even though I'm wearing a Swift hat, I'm not a representative of Swift. I'm giving my own opinion, my own thoughts, and things like that. And so, having said all that, let me say this. It really doesn't matter what I think. It really doesn't matter what Asian Mai thinks. And it really doesn't matter what Jason Pote, the trucker's coach, thinks, or even what Swift thinks. And I'll tell you why. As it stands right now, Swift is testing 2 of the self-driving trucks. Okay, there's still a driver on board. It's similar to autopilot on an airplane. Now, the reason why nobody's opinion matters, including Swift's, is because this is kind of like living on Mars. For my whole life, and I'm 50 years old, people have been saying, oh, one day we're going to live in space. And we do temporarily now have space stations and things like that up there. And then it was, well, we're going to live on Mars. Maybe we will. 50 years, maybe 100 years, probably. But at the current time, we don't have the technology or the ability to do that. Now, let's talk about self-driving trucks. And I want you to keep what I just said in mind. Truck drivers hate change. When we came out with electronic logs, everybody resisted. A lot of people quit truck driving because, oh, this was just too much. They weren't going to take it. Well, now a lot of guys actually prefer ELDs because it cuts your paperwork way down. It cuts your errors way down. They used to write violations forgetting to sign a log or things like that, and that's gone away. Automatic transmissions. There's a lot of people that in the beginning, oh, this is the end of trucking, but now even seasoned guys that's been out here a lot of years, a lot of them will tell you, hey, it took some time to get used to, but once I got used to it, now I prefer it. I'm at the point where I don't care either way. If it has an automatic or it's a manual, I can drive it either way. There are times, especially when I'm, in certain weather conditions, or when I need to accelerate to get on the intersection, get through an intersection or something, that I kind of wish I had a stick at times. Yes, I know you can manual shift these automatics, but it's still not the same as being in control of the power. Now, the same is true with this. There may come a point where autonomous trucks are a great idea, but here's the problem. Right now, everyone, or almost all of us, have those little black boxes on our bumper. We have the lane keeping, we have all that junk, and it doesn't work. I mean, if I was to put up a video and ask for stories about yours, you could all tell me a story where your system failed. Well, imagine we're going to put that system on steroids, and I realize it's a different system, but you get what I'm saying, and we're going to let it totally control the truck. Now, even with the advent of automatic transmissions, we've got more distracted driving than ever. We got guys playing on their phone. You guys have seen, you've passed trucks that they got their feet on the dash. You've passed trucks where they're reading something, or while they're watching a YouTube video while they're going down the road. Imagine how much worse it's going to be when you've got some 24, 25-year-old sitting here and he thinks the truck's going to autopilot down the highway. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But if it hiccups like your current system does, he's got to put down his cell phone or whatever he's doing, and he's got to try to correct the truck. Now, one thing you'll hear when you hear about accidents and stuff is reaction time. And if you've got both hands on the wheel and you're paying attention, there's still a split second of reaction time. Imagine if you're sitting here with your phone in your hand, or you're reading the paper, or you're playing with the radio, and then you've got to stop doing that and react. I think it makes a dangerous situation. I've brought it up in other videos that I think it's going to lead to major, major lawsuits. And the question is, who do you sue? Do you sue the trucking company? Do you sue the manufacturer of the self-driving equipment? Or do you go after the driver for criminal deals? Or do you go after all three of them? And if I was a lawyer, my question would be, how can you hold the driver responsible for something he's not in control of? The trucking company, whatever trucking company it is going to say, oh, it's either the manufacturer's fault or it's the driver's fault. The manufacturer's going to say, oh no, it's the trucking company. They must have done something to it, or the driver must have tampered with it, or they're going to get some special exemption, kind of like Pfizer, or not Pfizer, kind of like the COVID vaccine manufacturer got for saying they can't be sued for their COVID vaccination. So it's just going to be a mess, and I think it's years away. I think we'll all be retired before it gets here. I've seen videos where they put duct tape on the road and it totally throws these trucks off. And here's another thing. Even if you get it to where it works in certain limited, dedicated deals, I'm thinking about like up north where your UPSs and FedExes are, and they basically do a relay. Even if you can get something like that to work, it's going to be limited. It's not going to totally take over trucking. We're all not going to be out of work. And even in those instances, who does the pre-trip? Who does the post-trip? Who fuels the vehicle? If it's electric, who plugs it in? who backs it up to the dock, who gets the bills signed. These are all things they're going to have to work out. And granted, a lot of that is worked out by having a driver in here that can override the system in the event of an emergency. But even then, you're asking him to stay awake 11 hours when drivers already, and you know this in your own personal vehicles, have experienced fatigue. That's why we've supposedly got all these hours of service, and I'll talk about that in a second too. But if they're fatigued driving, imagine if they're fatigued just sitting there. You know, I just mentioned personal vehicles. You know how it is when you're driving on a long trip and your spouse is in the seat beside you, how hard it is for them to stay awake. Why? Because they're just sitting there, playing on their phone, whatever they're doing, they're nodding off. Usually everybody in the car is sleeping except the person driving because it's boring. Well, in an autopilot situation, it's going to be the same thing times 10. And so I just don't think that this is a panic situation that we all need to worry about. Again, I think this is a lot like we're going to live on Mars one day. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. And maybe this autonomous truck thing will become a thing. Maybe for yard jockeys or things like that, you can use it in limited runs, but I just don't think it's going to take over the trucking industry. So why are they pushing this? Well, you got to look at it this way. For the people that are making these autonomous trucks, they're getting the investors excited. They're taking in tons of investment money. And so for them, it behooves them to try to do it because they're getting in a lot of money. Their stocks are going up, things like that. To the trucking companies, they're going, wow, this would be great. We wouldn't have to pay a truck driver $80,000 or $100,000 a year. We could just have the truck do it. And I think that what's going to come out of this, and it may take 15 or 20 years, but I think it's going to eventually lead to an appreciation of the truck driver. There's a lot of people, and again, I'm not talking about Swift specifically here. There's a lot of people in the transportation industry that has gone to college and they have a lot of book knowledge, but they've never been a truck driver. They've never driven a truck. They've never been around a truck, and they think all we do is hop in the seat and drive. They don't know all the details of truck driving or things like that. Heck, the place I went to on Saturday, you should have seen it in Kansas City. It was down a little road under a bridge, and the GPS didn't know where it was at. I had to do a lot of what you'd call critical thinking to find it. And so had that been an autonomous truck, he may have hit the bridge. There's no telling where he would have wound up. Where the GPS wanted me to go would have put me on a dirt lot near some railroad tracks about 3 blocks away from this place. So that's where that truck would have ended up. And so I think over time they're going to improve these things, just like these things on our bumper. It's better than the first ones that came out. I remember when they came out a few years ago. But it's still not perfect. But each model year they improve them a little. And one day it'll probably be tolerable where we can all live with it. But that's kind of my thoughts on these autonomous trucks. I get why everybody's panicking, but I think it's way premature. And so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. The thing I want to say also is that Tuesday I'm going to be interviewing myself because there's been a lot happened that I think we need to talk about. And then Wednesday, unless something weird happens, I'll be back on Truckers Coach TV at 7 Central Time. So Tuesday is 5 p.m. Central. Wednesday is 7 p.m. And then Thursday I'm starting a new live, and I'll release the title later in the week. It'll also be at 5 Central. And you guys feel free to join me on those, and I'd be happy to elaborate more. I'm sure that a lot of people have been asking me about me and Truckers Coach and things like that. I'm sure I'm going to have to answer those questions sometime in the next 3 days and explain my thoughts on the whole thing. So you guys join me for all that. And speaking of that, I want to thank you for joining me on this one. Leave your thoughts and comments below or shoot me an email. I'd love to hear your thoughts on all of this. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.